Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today we are once again building something from The Legend of Zelda, in particular Majora's Mask. There are masks in that particular game, as well as many other Legend of Zelda games. And this particular one gives Link abilities to briefly fly, scoot across water, different fighting techniques, all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would attempt to make Deku's mask from Majora's Mask. Let's get to building. Template in the description. Download the free template from the description below, cut out the parts, and then trace them onto your material. For this build, I use 6mm and 10mm EVA foam. This should be relatively easy. It's not a lot of parts for this actual build. I use a glass dome light cover to heat form all my rounded parts over. Heat forming makes it easier for glue up and makes it a better form overall. Kind of gives those sharper edges a little roundedness so it looks more natural. The snout is pretty simple. The glue up on the circle is actually on the underside, not the edge like it typically is. Then you simply just glue the snout to the mask base. I used some of the registration marks to help me line up the eye cutouts. Then I laid out the wood grain pattern on the mask and burned it with a wood burner. To do the details on the leaves, I used a stone bit on my Dremel to carve out the veins. It makes the edges more rounded over and less drastic like what a wood burner would give, so it gives it more of an organic feel, which is kind of what I was going for with the leaves to begin with. I burned holes through the mask in order to glue the leaves in so they had a little bit more support because, there's no wire or anything holding them up. I also glued in some stumps on the front, back, and bottom to also help make a better connection.
Two coats of Plasti Dip.
I mixed a few different shades of brown spray paint in order to make the base wood color of the mask, and the same for the leaves. I did a mix of greens just because in nature most things aren't one solid color. Then in order to make the wood grain stand out more, I pushed brown and black acrylic paint in the grooves and wiped away all the excess. Last, I made the eye inserts. In order to see through, I used a sheer fabric and some paint pens to give it the color. Then I made a foam frame in order to keep the fabric stretched out so that when I went to glue it onto the mask itself, it would not have wrinkles in it. It just makes it easier to glue up. I also did this with the mouth with some black sheer fabric. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, very pleased with the way it turned out. The eyes are a little bit transparent, translucent. You can kind of see me waving. It's just simply a sheer piece of white fabric that I then colored with a paint pen. I also put some sheer fabric right here, so technically you could see through the mouth also, I guess, or breathe through it a little bit better. I didn't want to close it off, and at the same, I didn't want to leave it open so you could see my mouth. But overall, very pleased with the way it turned out. I think it's pretty relatively close to what the screen looks like, and I've saw a few images where this backside was showing and actually had text on the inside, so I don't really do this that often, but I actually fully did the inside of a prop, so it is relatively accurate front and back. But yeah, maybe we'll try and make one of these Deku masks yourselves and fool all your enemies into thinking you are some kind of Deku nut child running around doing bush smashing. You gotta look for rubies. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're gonna ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Don't really feel any different, but maybe you can see inside.